Hey everybody, Complex Mind, Simple Man. My name's Theus, as you know. My email address is right down here, complexmindsimpleman at gmail.com. If you have ideas you want or topics you want to discuss, I ask you to please, drop me a line, let me know. You can also put a comment under the video, let me know. Um, it's one of those things. I'm a bit of an introvert, so I don't get out that much, I guess you could say. So it's always nice for me to be able to engage with people and have some back and forth. If you want to join me on a topic, then hit me up. We'll chat about it, see if it's something we can do. But the reason for this video today is, and I'm asking you, hey, bear with me, okay? Because there will be a point where I am referring to some notes, but right now I'm not. I'm coming at you just what it is. Um, there's a big change that just happened in our nation. This, in my opinion, corrupt Supreme Court, or corrupt because of the corruption, but they're also overwhelmingly biased and ideological. And so we're starting, well, we're not starting, we have been seeing some really questionable decisions come out of the Supreme Court over the last, I'd say, 20 years. And it's really starting to manifest, or they're seizing their opportunity right now. And so I understand there's a lot of people who are confused out there. I am not a lawyer. I am not giving legal advice or any of that stuff. These are my opinions. Okay. Take this as entertainment value or whatever that disclosure is we're supposed to use. Right. But I am coming to you with a black perspective on what's going down. And I stress a black perspective. I do not have the perspective. I am not the authority on anything. If you agree with me, great. If you can kind of rock with me, great. If you disagree with me, that's great too. Okay. But there's a lot of venting, a lot of frustrations that are flowing right now about this Supreme Court decision. Now, if you've never heard any of my content before, I'll go ahead and say it again. My politics are not red. My politics are not blue. My politics are black. Okay. That is the lens that I approach politics and social dynamics through. My voting record is strongly Democratic because the Republican Party has been openly hostile to not just the Black community, but I would say nearly, if not every non white group in America, especially if you hold views or ideas that contradict their own. They are not inclusive, they are not flexible, they demand subsequence. You must conform to their views, and if you do not, then they label you an enemy or a subversive. And on that note, you will hear that a little bit from me, in that if someone declares you to be their enemy, I don't care how you personally feel about them, you need to recognize that they are now your enemy. That's how I view things, right? I'm minding my business. I'm doing what I feel I need to do. Don't want to harm or inconvenience anybody. Those who know me personally know that that is very big for me. I really just rather be kind of out the way. But if you come at me or mine, then I'm not going to try to figure out if you're my enemy, right? You've chosen me to be your adversary. So I accept you as mine. Okay. And I would like to convey the message specifically to my community, those who identify with my community, that that is the attitude to take. If someone has chosen to target you for harm, this is not the time to try to seek middle ground and understanding. It is the time to decide that you will oppose, that you will fight back, that you will stand up for yourself. right? Don't start issues. Don't start conflict. There's no need for it. We're all adults. This is simply, you can use your words. But if someone has chosen that words are insufficient and they want to either physically harm you or structure an environment that will harm you, then you need to fight back. You need to stand up for yourself. And that is one of the aspects of where we find ourselves today. Now, I am in the process of building a community, which is a bit of a heavy lift for me because, like I said, I'm kind of introverted, so I like to stay to myself. But we are already in the early stages of a new discriminatory era. Some would call it Jim Crow 2. Some would call it the new segregation. Whatever you want to call it, the fact is discrimination is the norm. And it's not being aggressively counteracted or pushed back against by really the only institutions that we can rely on to do so. And if the institutions will not stand up for you, if the law will not stand up for you, then you have to stand up for yourself, or just consign yourself to your fate. I am not of that latter view. I am of the former. So we are dealing with, at this moment, what brings this particular segment on this evening, or whenever you're seeing this, is that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is effectively dead. The law still exists, but it has been undermined to such an extent that it really can no longer serve its purpose. And while there's a justified feeling of frustration and anger that this is happening, I challenge you. If you're seeing this video, I'm challenging you to think this one step further, at least one step further. Why are you mad that this law is being dismantled? And I say that because, for me, I'm not mad that this law is being dismantled. I am mad that this law has to exist. I am mad that I'm supposed to be a citizen of the United States of America, and yet I needed not just amendments to the Constitution, 13, 14, 15, to justify my existence in a land that enslaved my ancestors, that did all types of horrors to my community, and continues to attack and target us at will, even more than 100 years, or almost 100 years, no, more than 100 years, 150 years plus from when we so-called were freed in 65 or 68. Depends how you want to count it. All right. And that is where I would like more of you to be upset. I mean, that's where I'm upset. Okay. I can't undo history. No one can undo history. But consider that slavery, from how we count it, 1619 to 1895 or 1890, 1865 or 1868, depends on how you want to count it. Just think about, that's a lot of time. And the aggressor in that was not us. We were the clear victims. And for approximately 300 years prior to what we were going through, they were doing it. The culture of this country was oppressing and slaughtering the indigenous people. So, and that's really more of an overlap, because it's like 200 and then 100 years of overlap, right? Until they felt like the job was done. And all the while they were enslaving us, okay? That should make you angry. That is not ancient history. The country is about to celebrate its 250th birthday. If slavery was a long time ago and we need to let it go and forget about it, if the indigenous Holocaust is a long time ago and we need to let go of it, then why do we celebrate the birth of a nation that's 250 years ago? So obviously history matters. And I am frustrated that history doesn't matter more to more of us. So I encourage you to take the fact that we have the 1965 Voting Rights Act that is being aggressively dismantled, and not just look at the dismantling. Look at why is it being dismantled. Look at what is it that feeds the animosity to continue to target our community. What did we do? What did we do to encourage you to enslave us? Nothing. What did we do after we were freed from enslavement to exact revenge? Nothing. What did we do following the dismantling of Reconstruction? Nothing. At each turn, we have tried to avoid conflict. We have tried to buy into this vision, this hopeful ambition of oneness under the flag. We've been some of the most loyal, patriotic people in this country. And I'm not going to say we're the most, because I don't think that that's a fair description. I think that when you claim to be the most of anything, you are minimizing others, and I'm not cool with that. But we are easily one of the most patriotic groups, even through our frustrations, even through our pain. So the same energy that opposed freeing your ancestors 150 years ago, that same energy didn't want you to succeed after you were freed and paid reparations to those who enslaved your ancestors. That same energy again, just a short time later, imposed, where they transformed the slave code into the black codes and ushered in Jim Crow segregation. That was the same energy. That was the same culture. And then when 1965 came about, that same energy opposed this law. Same energy. And that same energy didn't have this law take effect for years. Same energy. And that same energy, here we are, what is this, 35, 61 years later, is opposing your rights today. Just did it again today. And yet, so many of our brothers and sisters are just blindly walking through this. Sure, this will be the talk of YouTube for a few days. Guaranteed. It may even last through the next election. Perhaps. The anger, the outrage. But the solution, I contend, is not getting it back. If someone gives something to you as a concession, then they inherently have the right to take it away. And if you believe that they even gave it to you, then you also will believe they can take it away. And I'm saying to you that all of this is an illusion. All of it. We are citizens of the United States of America because We are citizens, born here. We are as much a citizen of this country as any other person in America. Now, unfortunately, laws had to be passed to tell the American population, the rest of our fellow citizens, that that should be the case. The 15th Amendment was not the 13th Amendment was not passed to tell us that we were free. The 13th Amendment was passed to tell them. The 14th Amendment was not passed to tell us we had rights. The 14th Amendment was passed to tell them. The 15th Amendment was not passed to tell us we were citizens. The 15th Amendment was passed to tell them. And what they're saying, and I'm saying they, and what I'm pointing at is the white culture. Don't let people get you twisted and sucked into the semantics game where they can put you on a straw man path. We are not talking about white people. I am not talking about white people. I am talking about white culture. See, in America, American white culture at that. Because see, we're in America. And whiteness is a construct. There are no white people. Black is a construct. There are no black people. These are representative terms that America has to rely on because we've decided that we can't be just Americans. So a caste system was put in place. And we've seen the Peter Griffin card, right? Where does your shade line up on this card? And that's, how your day is about to go. But that, again, it's a construct. It's a real construct. So we have to contend with it. I'm not going to sit here and play that weird game where we're like, well, it's a construct. So we can simply just agree to disagree and we can focus on we're all human beings. Nah, fuck that. All right. Look, it is a construct. It is false, but it's also true because it's in place, because it has the force of law. It has de jure and de facto power. So we have to contend with it. Like racism is the poor man's war. I agree with that. But it is still a war. You can be just as dead from racism as you can be from anything else. So you have to contend with it, right? It's not just a concept. So whiteness in America is a cultural dynamic and a caste system allocation. All right. So if you can be identified or accepted in mass or in general as white, then you fit in that class bucket. And within that bucket, you can be up, you can be down, but you are still within that caste. And so where it's kind of funny, I can't do it because I'm not doing graphics and stuff like that, but think of it like two bars. Each bar is 1 inch long. Within the first bar, we'll call it whiteness. You can be at the bottom of the bar. You can be at the top of the bar. Based on your merits and how life breaks and, how your luck rolls and all those things. As a white person, if you have been accepted into that caste, as a white person, you can move up or down within that. But you'll never move over to the second bar, which is the black bar. And the black bar is going to be offset, right? The black bar, let's say, is a 1/4 inch lower. Its top is a 1/4 inch lower than the white bar's top, but they're both 1 inch long. So within the black bar, you can be as high, you can be as low based on your merits and your skills and your opportunities and how life breaks and all that good stuff. But the highest point of blackness will still not afford you the same height in the caste system as whiteness. And then all the groups that are in between, they are locked in between that. No one escapes it. You just unfortunately largely overlooked. And I brought that in because this discussion about the Voting Rights Act 1965 is going to be centered around us as Black people because it was written because of us as Black people, but it affects everyone who is non-white. It just affects them to differing degrees. It affects us completely. So now the Supreme Court, first of all, in 2013, they went after Section 4. And they were like, hey, we're going to make it so the pre-clearance, all the old South, the concession, the what do you call it? Successionary states, right? All of them, they have to be watched. They play games all this time. We got to watch them. So if they make some kind of a voting rule in their state, then it needs to at least clear the smell test at the federal level before they can put it in place. That was the plan. Supreme Court weakened that to the point where it doesn't truly exist. Now here we are in Section 2, and they went after the last piece that has any teeth on it, and they're like, hey, you cannot discriminate based on race. If it's you can dance around race, right? you can focus on economics. You can focus on income. You can focus on educational level. You can focus on how green the grass is. You can focus on whatever the hell you want to. Just don't specifically say it's because it's where the Black folks at, or this is where the Spanish people at. Don't expressly say that. Can't do that. This decision today says, yeah, you can say that. Yeah, it's all good. It's all fair, you know. And so that's the problem. At least that's the problem they want us to focus on. I still say the problem is this damn law. Okay. And underneath that, the real problem is this caste system, this white American culture that is obsessed with targeting, subjugating, and humiliating everyone that's not them. And in an unpopular opinion, a lot of what I'm saying is unpopular, but an unpopular opinion is I don't believe, in large part, that it's really about Black and white. It's about us and not us. So for the dominant caste group, they want to protect their position of dominance. They like the privileges. They like the comforts that it provides. And so anything that they perceive as encroaching upon that or minimizing the value of that, they attack. And it's not that they want to outcompete these other groups to maintain their lead. No, because they know they can't. Because truly, all men are created equal. You put a group of people out and you let them compete, and you will see that their talents will rule the day. Their talents and their preparation will rule the day. On any given Sunday, any team can win, right? So that is too much variability. That's too much of an unknown. So instead of outcompeting their competition, they have determined as a culture to handicap or subvert or weaken or disrupt their competition. And so we are locked in this battle. I am saying to us, to the Black community, and let me be real clear, being a part of the Black community is not about being Black. You know, it'd be nice if it was, but it's not. Okay? It's, do you identify with Black people as a Black person? We got a lot of Black people who do not identify with Black people as a Black person. Okay? I'm not talking to them. And if you're one of them, I'm not talking to you. It's just because someone wears the jersey does not mean that they're on the team. Let's just be real. And that goes for those who appear to be white. This is why you cannot use color as your determining factor. Just because someone appears to be white does not mean that they align themselves with whiteness. Just because someone appears to be black does not mean they align themselves with blackness. Okay, so you cannot focus on color, you must focus on the culture. All right, and the culture is whiteness, blackness, right? It's this thing, the constructs, right? So please hear me as I say that. Now, I said, and I'm a little off because I'm not using notes here, that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is a problem. I'm saying that from the privileged position of being in 2026, looking back at 1965. At that time, this was a hard-won concession from whiteness. But as I said earlier, if it's given as a concession, it can be taken away. So this is just it being taken away. So if it can be taken away, and that means it was a concession, then we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we actually need so that it is not a concession, so it cannot be taken away? And that is the solution we have to work towards. We cannot obsess with how do we get the Voting Rights Act of 1965 back. It's gone. It needs to be gone because it's gone, right? It needs to be gone because it is now gone. If it was successful, then it would not need to be gone. It only exists because the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments, specifically the 15th Amendment, was not written tight enough to address the games that the states play with their elections. States' rights, in my opinion, is one of the most disastrous aspects of American life for non-white groups, because it took federal intervention to disrupt slavery. It took federal intervention to disrupt Jim Crow. It took federal intervention to do all types of things to stop states from allowing for the torture and wholesale slaughter of its citizens. It took federal intervention. So whenever you hear someone talking about states' rights, and we're going to send this to the states, if you haven't already picked up on it, I need you to start picking up on it. It's time to really tune in, because that's a threat to you. Nothing good historically has been done for the non-dominant group under states' rights, right? And so, and a couple ways states' rights pokes its head up. The college, the electoral college, that's states' rights. Okay. That was, well, as a nation, we had the popular vote, and we definitely have the ability to count people more accurately and control for, various levels of malfeasance. But there's a lot of states nobody wants to live in because they got a lot of racial issues in these states. So they don't want to go there. There's a lot of poverty issues in these states. They don't want to go there. There's a lot of games being played as far as voting rights and employment rights and all that. So nobody want to go there. So there's a lot of states in this nation that are underpopulated because nobody wants to live there. The only people who want to live there have been there. Like, they've been there for generations, right? People aren't moving to these places. If you want more representation, in my view, make your state better. Stop being so terrible. Stop being Kentucky. Stop being Mississippi, right? You're still Mississippi. You're still Kentucky. But can you treat your people better? Can you encourage bigger businesses to come in that pay people better and aren't as, either racially or driven by nepotism? then what you'll see is a lot of growth. Right. In the states that are just too dangerous for a lot of people to live in, well, you're going to continue to be sparsely populated because your state is constantly being afflicted by tornadoes, for example. But you notice Florida and Louisiana, they deal with hurricanes all the time. Guess what? People still come because there's investment. Louisiana's not the best example because they got a lot of issues, but they got good waterfront. So, and the minority culture there, it draws people in because they like to fetishize that which is different. And they like the food and they like the energy, but they don't really like the people, which is why they don't invest in the people. But that's a different discussion. But the Electoral College, that's states' rights, right? It disrupts the will of the nation. Now, personally, I would be cool if we could come up with a third option that could be effective, consistent, and reliable, that could become a third aspect so that you'll have the popular vote, you have the Electoral College, and then you'll have whatever this third thing is. But I don't know what the third thing is. And we don't have the third thing. So, given how diverse this nation is, if we would just go to the popular vote, you've just eliminated a lot of the problems as far as the Electoral College. Because now it doesn't matter where you're located. It doesn't matter where you're located because that's how you vote, but you can't throw it off with a small state overpowering where people actually want to live. Your state sucks. They don't want to be there. Make your state better and you'll have better representation, perhaps. But so that's where I'm kind of hitting. Like, voting rights Act 1965, it's an insult, it's a slap in the face, it's a deep problem, but it's not the problem. Because we've also been afflicted with what I would call the fatalism in the Black community, where we've been systemically attacked generation after generation, as some of the stuff already laid out. And what that does, it does a couple of different things. It tells some people, I just want the beatings to stop. So they disengage and they just give up on the whole thing, right? These are your fatalists that'll say, well, voting doesn't matter. Okay. If voting didn't matter, as you've heard the cliche, they wouldn't be attacking it. That's true. Also, now that the vote is being taken, we're about to see how much it doesn't matter. We're about to see how much even more reduced representation matters. And my issue with fatalists is not that they are fatalistic, because sometimes I'm fatalist. My issue with fatalists is they very seldom, if ever, present options and a plan. It's all good to say that we didn't get our voting rights by voting. That is a true statement. We got our voting rights by pushing for them, for fighting for them, for being killed to get them. And all voting is this another tool that is now in your toolbox. They have taken the tool out of your toolbox. You're still trying to build a home for the Black community in this thing called America. Every group is trying to build their home. And if every group builds their home and they build it with the belief and the concentrated effort of making America better, guess what? Now you have a community. You're right. You got the Black house, you got the Asian house, you got the white house, you got all these different communities. And they're not cities of their own. They're aspects of one great community. You didn't have to give up your identity. You just had to contribute to the overall identity. And so now everybody's building their house, but someone just came in, the same someone's who burned down your house before, the same someones that strung your best business leaders and greatest minds up on a tree and had a picnic under them. The same someones that took a black man who was jogging down the street, and because he wasn't deferential enough, they shot and killed him in the streets and then tried to cover it up. The same have just come and taken a tool out of your toolbox that we need to build our house. The protections that the 15th Amendment afforded weren't quite strong enough, so we had the voting rights in 1965, and now they've taken that from you. So now guess what's going to be next? Yes, the 14th and the 15th Amendment. 14th has already been under attack. 13th has an exception clause built into it. 15th is a problem. And 15th is what basically affords you citizenship. So if we can remove your protections under the law for your citizenship, then, for your voting rights, then we can attack your citizenship. And if we can attack your citizenship, then we can treat you like we were treating the immigrants. And now what? So you think this can't happen. You're watching it happen. But okay, let me go back to the fatalists. The fatalists told us, and I paid attention to it, and I tried to push back against them as much as I could, but you know what? Hey, sometimes you win a fight and sometimes you lose. They told us voting didn't matter, like I said. We didn't get the vote by voting. Okay, but once we got the vote, that was another tool, like I said, to build your house. I've taken that away from you. Build your house without a hammer now. Build your house without nails. Build your house without a tape measure. Build your house without a speed square. Right? You can have all these other things. You can build it. It's going to be kind of weak and it's going to be kind of goofy. You might be able to still get it up there. All right. But they're taking tools from you. And I need you to be mad that someone's taking tools from you. You're not emotionally attached to the hammer. You should be emotionally attached to what the hammer can do. You shouldn't be emotionally attached to the 1965 Act. You should be emotionally attached to what that thing did. And pissed off that someone came and took it from you. You should. And if you're not, I need you to get there. Because it's going to be important for the next piece that I'm going to talk about. Because, like I said, one of my issues with fatalists is they don't come to you with options, a plan, or solutions. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you some ideas. And it's up to us to execute. Come up with our own. Even beyond what I say, because I'm just going to give you a short list. Okay? But fatalists were real loud. They were real loud. And they were saying stuff like, don't vote. Not worth voting. They're all the same. Two wings of the same bird. I'll say dumb shit like that. Right? And I call it dumb shit because part of it is true, but it's bereft of context. And a lot of times the fatalists that you hear are intelligent people. And they've thought these things through. But they're choosing not to present it to you because they want to feed off of your energy. They know that frustration and fear will generate clicks. This video will almost certainly not get much of anything. And that's fine. None of my videos really get any views. But they know that if I just can stir up the anger, that's enough. I don't need to have any solutions, because once you start talking solutions, people tune out because they're like, wait, you're asking something of me. And no, what I can give you is I'm angry. I am with you in being angry. And then that'll just be enough, and they'll get the clicks, and then YouTube will cut them some money, and then maybe they even get really big and they start getting endorsements and ad reads, and they can start selling t-shirts and coffee cups and speaking at events and getting paid for you to come and listen to them stir you up and then leave you empty and directionless. That's the game. Because, and I say it's a game because watch. Pay attention to what has happened already today and what will happen over the next few days. Listen to the people who will come on that look like me. And they'll have their points. Some of the points are going to be really good. Some of the points really are good. But look for the ones that don't tell you what's next, that don't offer you pathways forward, who just basically, in their creative ways, beat their chest about being right. What good is it if we're on the ship and you told me if we get on this ship, it's going to sink? Okay? We're on the ship. You told me before we got on it was going to sink. You still got on the ship with me. Now the ship's starting to sink. You're like, whoo. Told you I was going to sink. Okay. Great. Should have listened to you before. Didn't listen to you before. But now you're right here next to me. We're both on this sinking ship. What do we do now? And they have nothing for you. All they have is this a whole bunch of I told you so's. And you're going to end up in the same place together. Out of luck. And in a more desperate situation. They're not going to lead you to the lifeboats because they don't know where they are. They're not going to have already looked at the map and know that if we just swim west, then we just have to make it a quarter mile and we will be on land, versus if we go to the east and there's no land and we will surely perish even if we get off the sinking ship. They have no plan. I'm challenging you. If they don't have a plan, ask yourself, why the hell are you listening to them? Is it because you just want someone you can agree with? Or are you actually being misled? And I'm not saying anybody has all the answers. What I'm about to share with you right now, they're just my ideas. And I believe that they're good ideas. And I believe that they're workable ideas. And I believe that at scale, we can make all these things happen. Not only at scale, but also in small groups. Some of these ideas are perfectly good for you. It's good for us. See, at scale, if you're not familiar with what I'm saying by at scale, that would mean like getting 10, 15% of the Black population to row in the same direction. That's a big ask, right? That's at scale. But there are also things, and we got to work for those, right? Because big things happen with only about 20% of any population group. If you can get 20% of any group to do the same thing, it can overpower the other 80, because the other 80 are completely disorganized. And unfortunately, we as a group are like 95% unorganized, disorganized. We don't work together. We don't belong. We don't belong to social groups that are doing anything. We don't belong to religious groups that are doing anything. We don't belong to familiar, like our families aren't locked in and pursuing the same goal. The ones who can say, well, yeah, I'm part of, organization XYZ, and we grow. We have a community garden and we all get together and grow. That's part of the 5% that's doing something. No, man, me and my friends, we get together and we make sure that there's always money in a group savings account for all of us, that if one of us falls on bad times or some hard luck, then we know where we can draw some money from to hold the family over real quick. That's part of the 5%. 95% of us are solo rangers, getting it out the mud, making it happen each day, right? Well, unfortunately, folks, with one of the changes that this will spur, see, when you're no longer protected under the law, you're left out there. So a lot of us who have decent jobs, your jobs are in danger, folks, because racial discrimination is now okay. Okay? Doesn't make it legal per se, but it's okay. So now you have to fight for things that previously these companies and individuals within the companies were leery of because they didn't know where they stood. They didn't like you just because they didn't like you, but they couldn't come after you because they would be labeled doing it on a racial basis. Well, now it's okay. Get ready. We're about to see some stuff, y'all. And if I stopped right there, that would be fatalist. But no, now we're going to move to the next piece as I move to try to wrap this bad boy up. So what do we do? What do we do? There's a lot of things we can do. And I'm just going to spark your mind on a few things, but I don't have all the answers. You have some of the answers. You know someone who has some of the answers. And you might have someone in your circle that has an amazing idea, but they don't know how to bring it into execution. But you are really good at executing on ideas. Sometimes you have trouble formulating the idea, but you can see things within an idea that you can make happen. You know how to make things manifest. Well, you put the idea person with the manifest person, and you bring in a doing person. See, the doing person, they just need something to believe in. They will be your most loyal, hardworking individual. They just need to know that they can trust you to take care of them because they don't have the particular skill set to dream the dream or to manifest the dream. But they do know how to give their talents and their efforts to make it happen and keep it going. They just need to have someone they can believe in. So if you are one of the first two, you owe it to the third one to be trustworthy and dependable. And you will see that between the three of you, the three personality types, the group can be huge. With the three personality types, between the three of you, anything I'm about to say, you can make happen. Bigger things than I'm about to say, you can make happen. History shows us this. Right? One of my favorite people to lean on, Marcus Garvey. Look him up if you don't know him. Read about him if you're not already inspired by him. Okay? Look it up. You can achieve amazing things. It's just sometimes we get lost in what we think our skill set is, and I'm guilty of this, but I'm forcing myself to step out of that because the times demand it. I don't know how long I have here, but I'll be damned if I'm just going to go out with just the ideas in my head and never try to go find the manifesto and never go find the doer. No, I'm looking for you. I have an organization that I'm building that maybe you'll hear about it later. I don't know, but I'm not trying to push nothing on you right now. We got work to do. Okay. So, and this is where I'm going to start looking at my notes. Okay. So, next steps. Goodness, I got this mouse and this thing is like lagging. It's terrible. It's driving me nuts. All right. So first thing I'm gonna say is like collective effort. I am not a huge proponent of boycotts. Let me go ahead and put that out there. So we just did the Target boycott, and I had problems with it when it was announced. Just being 100 with y'all. But I did participate. I did not shop at Target, and Target is like, I'm not a big shopper, but I refuse to shop at Walmart. Not happening. Don't go in there unless I critically have to. My spot was Target. It's clean, it's diverse. You know, a lot of the different, and like every time you go in there was something else cool to kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's pretty nice, right? That's me, right? Middle class, bougie black, right? Target was my spot, Target. So when the boycott was announced, and I'm just like, man, for real, we gonna run a 1950s playbook. That's what we're gonna do. I wasn't feeling it, but as I often say, if you know me, you've heard it from me. I don't have to agree with you. If that's where my people are going, then I'm going with my people. because I believe I have the talents. I believe I have the intellect to be of service to my people wherever we go. I would rather we go some other directions. And I'm going to continue to work for that. But wherever my people are, I'm going. All right. I don't think I know more than the group. I just think that sometimes I have a different perspective than the overall group, but that's all right. This is my group. If I had to come back to this earth, I'm still want to come back black. Just tell you right now. All right. But rolling targeted economic boycotts. See, here's the thing about a boycott to me. If you're going to do a boycott, it needs to have organization. It has to have demands. So if you're going to, let's say, the Target boycott, we as Black people are not shopping at your store. So vast majority of us was like, nah, we out. Okay. What's the demand? What's the demand? Some people say, well, actually, no one ever gave me a demand. No one ever gave me what the demand was. Was it what? Reinstitute the DEI programs? First of all, DEI wasn't about us. They made it look like it was about us. Kind of like intersectionality. It ain't about us. We're a part of it, but it ain't about us. Or critical race theory. That's not about us. We're a part of it, but it's not about us. But whiteness needs a bad guy, and the easiest bad guy to generate sufficient energy among all other groups competing in this space is Blackness. So they make us a poster child. Cool. So DEI. Just saying, guys, it wasn't us. It was used as a scapegoat. It was used like they always, like the right always does, like conservatives always do. Each cycle, they'll come up with a new term and use it in the old, was it Lee Atwater theory, right? We don't want to say N-word, N-word, N-word. No, folks, I don't use that word. We don't want to say that, but we'll say school busing. We'll say inner city. We'll say at risk youth, right? We know what it says to whiteness. And if it says something to whiteness that is undesirable, they can fill in the blanks and know that you're talking about Black folks. You're talking about Blackness, right? And then because we have certain issues amongst ourselves as a collective culture, we internalize the negative of it as well, which is a different discussion. I'm not going to do that today. So rolling targeted economic boycotts means, okay, let's use Target as an example. Target, here's what we're going to do. Starting in, this is May, right? Hypotheticals, all right? Starting in May, we're not shopping at your store. Now, for Target, we already ain't, because we don't know how to turn off the boycott. This is another issue. We don't know how to turn off the boycott. But we're going to keep it going. Target, we ain't coming back. That's it. We're done. Not coming back. Starting in June, Dollar General, we're not shopping. We're not going there. Nope, not buying shit from you. You're part of the boycott. Starting in July, Walmart. Same thing goes for you. If I need something, I'll go to the grocery store. So now I'm not going to Target. I'm not going to Walmart. I'm not going to Dollar General. Right? There's other options. Some of them may cost a little more because they can't purchase at volume. But as you start to boycott these locations, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to start looking for alternatives, and you're going to find some businesses and some options that you hadn't considered before. August, Amazon. Amazon will be a hard one because it's what everybody buys from. So we'll be more disciplined. Amazon, we will not buy any toys, electronics, or paper goods through you. Buy anything else we want to. Whatever else you want to. But toys, electronics, and paper goods, not buying it from you. Right? We'll buy our toilet bowl cleaner from you. Yeah. But other stuff, we're done. Now, that's turning it on. That's keeping it rolling. And we might not do it every month, but I'm using it for illustrative purposes. But you keep adding another national chain that historically we have some issues with, right? They either don't treat their employees well. So there's a labor issue. It's not even about being black. It's about labor because we disproportionately inhabit a lot of the labor positions, just like our Latino brothers and sisters. So you don't treat your people right. You're price gouging, like Amazon, richest company in the world. But you're going to cut out Amazon Prime Video, but not reduce the price. Even though you capture all our money. Even though you work your people way too hard. Even though you don't afford them effective benefits. Even though you don't pay them all that well. I see a problem. Same problem Walmart has. Same problem Dollar General has, right? So there you go. But this, you just said, one of the issues we have with boycotts is there's no demand. There is a demand here. Okay. So we're going to say hiring practice. Your hiring practices, if you want us to turn this off, we can turn it off at any point. Doesn't have to get all the way down the line here, guys. And it won't turn off until you start conceding. But hiring practices need to be reflective of their customer demographics. If you disproportionately get money from poor white people, but you don't employ poor white people, we got a problem. If you set up shop in the black community, and when I walk in your store, I don't see no black people working there. That's a problem. So you need to revamp your hiring practices to be more reflective of the communities in which you draw your resources from. If you're already doing that, great. We move to the next demand. Right? Vendor selection reflective of your customer base. If you cater largely to the Latino community, why don't you have more small Latino businesses represented in your product selection? Same thing for black people. Now, this makes me bone to pick with the Target thing because they actually were one of the more inclusive national stores or chains that did. But can't refight that. They have other issues, so cool. I'm with you. Okay, but those are the demands. You might have other demands. We might decide that more people in senior management, right? Because we can't just settle for the token. What they do is to say, oh, okay, well, what we'll do is we're going to make the chief security officer black. And then all the rest of the C-suite ain't no black folks. Right? So we got our token, back off. No, I want to talk about your middle management. That whole tier that makes the decisions and make things go all the time. Why don't you have anybody that is when I open your leadership tree, it's not very diverse now, is it? All right. So and the diversity is driven off of where you're drawing your money from. So if you only service white folks and you just happen to have all white folks, hey, it's what it is, bro. I'm not saying diversity for diversity's sake. I'm not a fan of that. And then the businesses that we reward are the ones who do. They just naturally do it. Because they don't care about the look of the person. They're looking about the quality of the work they can get out of that person. Those companies we need to reward. We need to invest in them. We need to shop with them. We need to do those types of things. All right. But anyway, that's the rolling boycott. Another one, full withdrawal from the national 2026 election. Yes, I just said that. If the Democratic Party didn't fight hard enough to keep this from happening in the Supreme Court, which they didn't, right? They didn't fight hard enough to block some of these appointments, which they didn't. They're not loud and aggressive and putting their money to work to get more people in place to fight back against this conservative onslaught, which they're not. The Democratic Party is locked into its sclerotic and aged and corrupt practices, and they just can't find a way to shake themselves loose. Even when they have personalities and talents that can help move the ball, they won't give them positions of authority or power. That's an intentional decision. So punish the party. Donald Trump does not use the Congress for anything. He uses them mainly for like deflections and scapegoating. So as much as I would love for the 2026 election for us to swamp the polls and beat out these Republicans, which I do believe is super important, what happened today really, really fucks with me, okay? Because I'm looking at the Democratic Party, and I'm like, just like with women's autonomy, you saw this coming before we did. Why weren't you more active and aggressive? Why wasn't your aggression to defend and put something better in place as strong as their efforts to undermine it? I don't need you if you're not going to do the work. And if voting for you still puts me in the exact same place, then maybe how I'm voting is a problem. Right? And what differentiates me, in case you're wondering, from the fatalist argument earlier is I'm telling you why we're doing it and what we're going to do about it. So full withdrawal, skip the congressional ballot, but don't skip the election. Vote for every single local election you have on your ballot and do any and everything you can to vote against every Republican. I don't care who they are. I don't care who they're up against. Every Republican, vote against them. Put an independent in there, put a libertarian in there for all I care. Anybody except the Republican at your local and state elections. Let Congress do what Congress is going to do. Because the only thing Congress can do right now is they can pass some funky laws, which apparently doesn't matter because the Supreme Court's going to pass anything anyway. Trump's going to use executive orders, which Congress isn't going to oppose anyway, Democrat or Republican. So fuck them. That's what they said to us. They are effectively saying, screw y'all, right? So screw you too. If it's F me, then it's F you too, right? So divest en masse from the Democratic Party for 2026 if the party does not pivot to our demands. And what are our demands, you say? We need energy. We need commitment. We need action. We need it in writing, and we need it loud and proud. We need it all the time. Turn on full blast and mean it. We need constitutional amendment, guaranteeing voting rights for all citizens, regardless of their demographics, because we now see that the 15th Amendment, which is supposed to do this, is not strong enough. So you need to tighten that damn thing up. I don't need another Voting Rights Act for Black people. I need you to cement my rights as a U.S. citizen in this country as a Black person or anybody else, right? That's the equality you guys want to talk about. I don't need you to do, in this particular case, I don't need a carve out for Black people, because if you do a carve out for Black people, that's exactly what the hell they're going to use as their reason for going after it. My rights need to be as equal and as protected as everybody else. Make us all white or make us all Black. I don't care which way you go. But this dancing in the middle, nah. So that's what I want. I want an amendment to tighten up the 15th Amendment. All right. We need a commitment to overturning Citizens United. I need to see legislation that is drafted and ready to go. Even if you can't get that thing through committee, I want to know. I want you to have AOC. I want you to have Bernie Sanders. I want you to have Cory Lane Booker. I need you to have. Give me another one. Tallarico. I need you to have any and everybody needs to be singing the same song about overturning Citizens United, but not just saying it. They all need to have substance. This is the bill that the Republicans, by name, are opposing us getting a vote on for overturning Citizens United. Yeah, I hear you out there. Universal health care. I hear you. I want it. We should have it. That ain't the fight right now. That's the next fight. The fight right now is our rights. Because if you ain't got no rights, you ain't gonna have no health care. I'll tell you that. So, and this is a cool one, I think. Automatic voting registration at age 18. You can keep track of. You already keep track of all of. The government already knows where you are and what you are. They made your parents register for a social security card as soon as you were born. So they already know you exist. So when I turn 18, just like I'm supposed to register for this funky ass draft, well, they're even saying they can make it automatic. They can make it automatic for when you turn 18 that you're automatically registered for the draft. Well, if you can do that, guess what you can do? You can automatically register me to vote. It's the exact same process, same information, right? So automatically register everyone to vote at age 18. Whether they vote or not, that's up to them. But everybody's registered. You ain't got to figure out if you're registered when you show up to vote. You just got to prove that you're a citizen. And guess what we can do for that? Then we can, just like we issue social security cards, we can issue a federal ID, voting ID, and make it free and make it available in various ways. You can make it available through the driver's license office. You can make it available through the fishing and hunting license. You can make it available through government assistance offices like SNAP and things like that. In one way or another, we all cross one of those paths. Give me my damn ID. Right? There you go. So that's the full withdrawal one. Create community. And this is where we're going to bring it in now. We're going to bring it in. I said those are the big ones. Now let's see what you can do as a person, as an individual, as a small group. We can create community schools to supplement our children's learning. All right. So how do we do that? We partner with churches. A lot of churches have, if not the communal center, like where you go for your repast. I forget what it's called, but it's basically the banquet hall, right? They got the banquet hall. A lot of churches have little classrooms where they do Sunday school and things like that. Rent it out. Go to the church and say, hey, I want to host Saturday school for a few kids in the community. And how much will you charge me to rent this room for 2 hours? And then do that. Guess what? One, it gives money to the church. The church needs money. And then two, it's a space that most people can get to. Three, a lot of times it already has a supply of children. Let's go. Space is already there, black folks. Right? This is when I'm back to talking to us. Space is already there. No, you might be like me. You don't go to church. I'll stop going to church. I kicked that habit. But that doesn't mean I can't go to church, give them some money, and go teach my children. Or there's rec centers. Right? Maybe you have a recreation center near you, and they have classrooms that you can rent. Look into that. Okay. If you bring it in a little bit tighter, and it's just your family, friends, right? Well, now just go to somebody's house on Saturday, hour or two, right? Kick it. Don't make it another day of school. It's another day of learning. Make it fun. Make it engaging, right? I do this with my kids now, right? I got my daughter and her best friend, which is my bonus baby. And we get together and we talk about, like, how do we build a business? And how do we structure this? And we use we use dimensions, and we use sorry, not the word just escaped me, but shapes and stuff and angles, right? Geometry. We do that. We do algebra. We also do public speaking, and we brainstorm, and we think through things, and we just have fun. It's amazing how much fun we have just learning. And it can be as freewheeling or as tight as you need it to be. But we can do that. Absolutely can do that. This is how we start to address the needs of our community in the face of this onslaught that we are in. We've been in it, but now we're forced to see it. So let's be about our business and do something with it. All right. Anyway, get me back where I was going. You can also rent or reserve space with your public school. A lot of times they have programs that you can do that, because you have churches sometimes who rent space at the school. They can use it during the off hours. Gives money to the school, and it gives you a space to be. So look into it. Do that. How do we fund something like this? All right. Well, you got places that are going to charge you, like the church, the school, right? Those make it public funded and participant funded. So as a community, you have to set this up. Got to work this out. But you can set up a little small board amongst the people who are participating or whatnot. And everybody gets $10. Everybody gets $20. Whatever it is. Like, come up with a number, $30, right? Don't make it too expensive. Make it so people can participate. But if you're getting money from the community and you're getting money from the participants, then you definitely got more than enough money to rent the space. And everybody already has their own devices and Google Sheets and stuff like that. That's free. And then if you do it right, you have enough money to feed them too. So let's do it, right? There's options. We just have to decide we want to do it, right? Since we like to look back at the 1950s like it's some kind of heyday, or 60s like it's some kind of heyday. Fine. Look at the 50s, look at the 60s, look at what we did to make it through and what we did to persevere, and recreate some of those programs. Recreate what you like most about the Black Panther Party, right? Don't just brag about WIC came from us. Don't just brag about the breakfast program came from us. Bring it back. Do it again. Damn it. All right. Employ teachers and parents, and we can draw on their talents and skills. You don't have to be an actual teacher. I am definitely not a teacher. But what I do is I take what I'm passionate about, which is math and critical thinking, and I bring it to the kids. And we just try out new things. And sometimes it's like blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's like, yo, when can we do this again? The kids come to me. When can we do this again? Right? So come on, guys. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. I'm already doing it. There's other people doing it way better than me. We can do this. Now, intentional spending. Prioritize Black-owned business. We say this all the time. I hear it all over the place. But the question that I've had, because I tried to prioritize Black business, at least I tried to. I got away from it. It's because it's hard to do. Where the hell are these businesses? Well, here's how we can help with that. If you have a website, like I have a website, it's not Complex Mind Simple Man. I've turned that one off. But I have a different website, which I'm not bringing up right now. But we can gather business names, business name, email address, business name, web address, business name, phone number. Like, let's put the information, and literally on your website that a lot of you have, just create another page, friends of the community, boom, advertise. You can do it for free or you can do it for a fee. All right, whatever, whichever way works for you. But now we have a lot, everybody do it. And what you find is, one, cheaper advertising than paying Google ads and Facebook ads. Two, people will be able to go to these boards and look and say, oh, okay, I want to get a haircut. I can go there. Oh, okay, I want to get, my shoes repaired, or I need a seamstress. I can go there, right? I need my hair braided. I can go there, right? Let's help each other advertise each other so we can get more people who can see what we're doing. And there you go. It makes it easier to prioritize Black business. Like right now, it's really hard to figure out where the hell to look, right? And I'm in Metro Atlanta, right? Now it's easier if you were in Atlanta, but I'm in Metro Atlanta. So where I'm at, it's a lot of Black people, kind of, Not really. But there's enough of us, but most of us are corporate. So we travel to go to work. But that's neither here nor there. Establish family and friends businesses. You know, if you, I'm just making it up, but you got somebody in your family who's good at doing hair. The hair is expensive, right? You're talking about $200 or more to go get your hair done that's only going to last 2 weeks. What? Well, you can get, if somebody in your family knows how to do box braids or quick, twist outs and stuff, come up with a price. Come up $50. Let's make it happen. Boom. Right? Passive income, extra money in the house. And you can do this as a group. You can do this as a family. If somebody is really good at talking to people, that they don't have a lot of social awkwardness and social shyness, that's the person who's going to do some of your marketing. You got another person who actually does the work with the hair. Well, that's the person who's getting paid for doing that. And then there's another person who's good at business and just knowing how to keep up with the numbers and how to forecast and chart and grow. There you go. 3 people just made it happen. Most things you want to do, you literally just need 2 other people. And between you and their talents, amazing things can happen. All right, so that's that. And then my last one I'm going to bring you, community town halls. We got to start talking to each other. We got to start seeing each other. We got to start interacting with each other, right? So you can do that online. You can do it in person. I don't care. Either way, we can do it. Like right here. Hey, if you want to get on here and have a town hall where we just talk and chop it up, you got my email address. Shoot me your email. We'll sit down and we'll put this on. We all just be out here talking, man. We can do it live. We can do it live. Or we can do it recorded. Probably if it's a town hall, we're going to do it live. But let's do it. And then if you got a website, and I got a website, or I got a YouTube channel, you got a YouTube channel, we can broadcast it in multiple places. Increases the number of people who get to see it. The 12 people who look at my stuff and the 3,000 people that look at yours. And there you go. Now we actually can air out some of the ideas and stuff within the community, even though we're physically separated. And then as far as doing it in person, that's what we go back to what I was saying before. Go to the schools, rent space at the school, rent space at the church. If you can get it for free, do it for free, right? One of the things that helped carry us as a community through the dark days into the light of the 90s was the church. It was the Black church. Now, I believe that we went far astray. And there's a lot of issues I have with religion anyway. But that the value of the Black church and the Black community, we need it back. And we need secular options too. But we already have the church. We're a very spiritual, religious people. Okay? Lean on our strengths. Let's start talking to each other. All right, commit to meeting with your friend group monthly. Once a month. Hop on a call. You can do StreamYard for free. You don't even got to record it. Just hop on it together. Exchange skills and talents. Get together. Be like, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to braid hair. I'm gonna teach you how to cut hair. I'm gonna teach you, how to do your own taxes. I'm gonna teach you whatever, man. Whatever your skills are, you got them. You go to work every day and practice your skills with somebody who's making money off of your efforts. Shit, teach your friends. Plan for each other's success, be it financial, spiritual, social. We got a lot of brothers out here who are trying to do their best, trying to take care of their family. And man, it's lonely. It's lonely, man. The loneliest place is up front. Same thing for our sisters who are out there making it happen too. We need to start talking to each other. We got a lot of depressed, lonely people, man. And they're depressed and they're lonely because they don't know who to talk to. Everybody doesn't have a good friend group. Everybody doesn't have a good solid circle. If you got a circle, hold that circle tight because you're going to need them. Going through what we're going through right now, you're going to need them. And then the ones who are truly alone, maybe this is something that you can tie into. Find you an online space you can tie into. It ain't as perfect as being in a private group, but it's something. It gets you out. It gets you interacting. Don't let the thoughts sit in your head, because if they're great thoughts, the world needs them. And if they're negative thoughts, you don't need them. So get that shit out. Okay. We have to lean on each other as a community, as a family, as a circle, as a network. It's only going to get better if we make it better together, and it takes effort. So I just went through all this stuff tonight, today. Whenever you see this shit, I'm doing it at night. Um, Please, if you bothered to watch this, if you made it this far, put some comments in for real, because like I hear a number of people watch. I see people watching some of my stuff, but I don't ever get no comments. So either I'm doing really bad, or people ain't commenting. I don't know which one it is, but it's nice to see a comment from time to time, right? Plus, if you agree with me, tell me you agree with me, or you got a different slant or different perspective, or you got some other ideas. Man, somebody else come across this and never interact with us and never make a comment and never do anything, but they read your comment about an idea and they can run off and do it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it what I tell my daughters, and I tell my nephew. You never know. You never know who draws their strength from you. Okay, remember that. No matter what you're going through in life, you never know who draws their strength from you. Someone is watching you. Someone is paying attention to you, and especially if you're the strong one. If you're the strong one, this is definitely about you. Okay, you feel alone. You're tired. You're tired of seeing things that other people don't seem to see. You're tired of being right about the wrong things. You're tired of always having to keep it together. You're tired of always having to be the strong one. You're tired. But you were given that gift because you're strong enough to carry that gift. And there's someone out there that doesn't have your strength. There's someone out there that they need your strength in order for them to stay strong. So no matter what you're doing, no matter how you're moving in life, just always think about that. Keep that in mind. Somebody is watching you, and everything you do does matter. Even if the people that matter most to you don't see how much you matter, there's someone who does see how much you matter, and they need you. They need you to keep showing up for yourself, because that allows them to keep showing up for themselves. You not giving up helps them not give up. You're saving someone's life, even if you don't know you're doing it. So, hey, complex mind, simple man. Again, my name is Theus. Whatever you think about it, let me know. But thank you for watching this video. And yeah, that's it. So.